Okay, welcome to Bitrix24 Live. I'm Damien Edwards, Commercial Manager of Bitrix24 Gold Partners Interface. Our contact details are on the screen there. As partners, we provide pre-sale support, so that includes a demo of the system. We can discuss your particular requirements and show you how they work in Bitrix. We provide ongoing implementation service and ongoing training of Bitrix24. We provide a telephone support service as well. If you want to post your questions in the chat box on Bitrix, we'll get to those questions. We've had some questions through on email, so if you want to send questions through on email as well, you can do that. Send them to live@interface.com and we can answer those questions. But if you're online, post those questions in the chat box and I will answer those for you today. So we have had a couple of questions in. First one is, how do I set up help desk module? And then how do I raise and submit tickets? So let's have a look at this. So Bitrix24 self-hosted edition is available with a help desk, built-in help desk module. If you're on the cloud, you don't have a help desk module, but we work with businesses that use tasks for ticketing. So it's possible to create help requests as tasks. But if you want the full help desk system, you're going to need this self-hosted edition. So how do I submit tickets? There are, in fact, 3 different ways you can submit or create a ticket in the help desk module. If we go into our self-hosted instance here, and we go into access the extranet of this instance, we have a support page created here. So first way is you can create a ticket. You can provide login details to the user. So I guess help desk can be used for internal people, or more likely it's used for external people, so your customers raising tickets about problems they've got. So you can set up your customers as an extranet user. You can give them login credentials. If you're using the self-hosted, which you need to for help desk, then you can brand up the login page as well. Let's just have a look at that login page and show you how this would work for you. If I log out, then so if you're using the self-hosted, you host the instance firstly on your own domain. So you choose what URL they're going to access the help desk on, and then you can design pretty much the login page as required. You're probably going to need a partner to design it or to set it up for you. You can provide a design to a partner and they will set it up. But essentially you're giving them access via your own URL, your own design login page. And depending on the credentials, the permissions that you assign to that user, they'll get directed through to the extranet site. So I've logged in as an admin here, so it's not directing me through to the extranet. But your customers will have the correct permissions, which will direct them through to a page similar to this. We've got a few links down here on this demo site. It might be that you just actually want them to access the support page, trouble tickets page, and so it would be possible to limit what they see on this left hand side. So I can see the tickets that I have open, and it's possible to create a new ticket using this form here. So there is so that's the first way of doing it. I'm going to show you 3 ways. There's actually 4 ways. I'll show you the 4th way at the end, which is a plugin that we've developed, which is not standard, but we can provide for you. So that's the first way. The user logs in and they create the ticket themselves. Second way is you can integrate a support at email address, and that will, you can create a rule inside Bitrix. So if we have a quick look in the control panel, so inside the self-hosted you have a large back-end, and does allow you to configure the front end in quite a lot of detail. If we go into, let's see if we can find our mail rules. I think we have to put mail rules. Mailboxes and rules. Okay, so you can create your mailboxes. We've got one here, support at interface, and this one has a rule applied to it, support ticket. So here we go, the rule is applied to this support at interface email account, so that any incoming emails to this address will generate a ticket inside the system, as you would expect. Normal way that you would create a ticket is to email the support address. Any subsequent emails then with the ticket ID reference that Bitrix generates, any replies from your client to that email address that the system will generate will add to the ticket. So you can put your support agents can provide their response to the initial request, and then the customer can reply to that email again, and that will continue to add to the ticket. If we have a look at help desk inside the back end here, so we can access. You can actually configure the content of those emails, so you can customize what it says. You can also configure what's called the reference book, so things like how to categorize them, how to prioritize them. You can have different statuses so you know where you're up to with individual tickets. You can create frequently used answers to make it speedy for people to respond. You can categorize the source. You can even categorize things like the difficulty if you want to report on that later on. Let's just go into a ticket and see what that looks like. So if we go into a ticket here, I can here's the content of the ticket up here. Short query there. I can reply to the ticket using a frequently used answer if necessary, and here's the different categories that you can apply. So I can change the status, I can change the priority if I want to do that. You can create rules that then assign that on to different people based on priority, based on category. So that might be if you've got different areas in your business that you deal with, maybe you want to assign a ticket onto a different person who's specialist in a certain area. You can select from the category menu here, and that can automatically assign it on. So you can create the ticket. You can ask that they can log in and create the ticket manually. They can email and create the ticket, and then really the third way is that you as an agent, support agent, can add a ticket manually inside the trouble tickets page. So help desk exists within a section of the control panel in the back end of the product. It doesn't as such exist as a front end module, but you can give access, limited access to control panel to support agents so they can access this section. It is possible with a plugin which we have developed to access and create tickets from the CRM as well. So that's the fourth way. If we go into if we go to one of our companies in here, then I have a link for tickets, and you can see all the tickets, and you can add a new ticket using this pop-up form. So 4 ways really essentially of creating tickets. inside Bitrix. This plugin's quite good because it means that your sales team can see, even if you don't give permission to add tickets, let us listen to see sort of open tickets for a particular customer. So that's the different ways of creating a ticket. Hi, website today not open. I'm not too sure what you mean by that, Ahmed. Which website's not open? If you can give me some more information, it would be good. Can I integrate Dropbox into Bitrix? So let's have a look. Can't remember. If you go to the activity stream. So in terms of actual integration, it depends what you mean by can I integrate it. I'll tell you what's available as standard. So if I go into any activity stream, then I can post a message. In this case, I'm posting a message to all employees. I can change that. I can send it to an individual person or department. I can also in the CRM post messages to companies and contacts, and you can attach documents to those messages. I attach a document by clicking in here, and I've got different options here around how I attach a document. One of those options is to attach from an external drive. So we can attach from, we have integration with Office 365, Google Drive and Dropbox. So your question is Dropbox. So we have Dropbox here. So if you have an account with Dropbox, if you click on here and you're logged in, you'll actually see all your Dropbox files available in here. That allows you to select a file and then share that file with the people that are shared in with this message. That's the integration. Bitrix has its own drive built in. If you go to Drive on the left hand side, there's a standalone drive. There are actually drives inside every single work group as well. But if I go to my drive on the left hand side, this will show me all the documents that I have permission to access inside Bitrix. You can't as such integrate this with any other document storage provider. So I couldn't click on this link and access my Dropbox files. This is the Bitrix drive space, and it's not possible to switch that for something like Dropbox. But you can retrieve documents from Dropbox and share them quickly inside any activity stream. So if you prefer to continue to use Dropbox, you can remove this menu link here potentially and just share files with people from that Dropbox, from your Dropbox accounts. If I purchase the on-premise, how do I retrieve updates to the system, and is there any support for installing the system onto my server? How do you receive updates? So if you have a cloud account, then updates are applied very regularly. So there's major updates 2 or 3 times a year, which are product launches, additional features and updates to existing features. And then there's fixes, small fixes, which come through on a regular basis, and on the cloud they're applied automatically in the background, so you won't notice until you see something that's slightly different on the front end. You can of course go to Bitrix's presentations on YouTube, and they'll explain when new features are coming out, so you're aware of what's coming through. But the question is about on-premise. So it does work differently on-premise. I'm on an on-premise instance here. If I go into the control panel and I go into the marketplace, and if I go into platform update here, then let's just update. I have to update this. Okay, so I have to update my site data, and now it's saying install recommended updates. First thing is to check, I guess, when you're on premise is, are you allowing beta or only stable updates? So if you want beta updates, then they're updates that have not been fully tested and fully launched as stable updates. It's sometimes, we have it on this demo site, it's probably best to wait until those updates have been fully tested and are out of beta and are stable. But on this one, we're receiving all updates. If you click in your update tab, then you will see a list of all the updates which are available, provided you have a current license. So that is when you buy a self-hosted edition, you receive updates for the first 12 months. You don't need to pay anything after that 12 months if you choose not to, but you won't receive updates. So after the first 12 months on the self-hosted, you need to pay for maintenance. It's 25% of the original cost of the license per annum. That allows you to receive updates. It also allows you to continue to use API services, telephony, a couple of other things as well that you can't use if you're not subscribed to maintenance. And of course updates is one of those main things. So provided you have a live license, you'll see these updates, and they're all ticked by default, but you can choose to install all of them, or you can choose to deselect some and install them. And we do that with a lot of customers. We don't apply all updates automatically. We'll review them. Particularly if we've done any customization on it, what we might want to do is apply those updates to a staging environment first, test how that's affected any customization, and when we're happy, then release it out to their live instance, their production instance. So that's how you apply updates. Second part of your question, is there any support for installing the system onto our server? So you can install Bitrix self-hosted edition on a server that's physically located in your office. You can install it on a web-based server, or the third option is that we host it for you, or another partner would be able to host it for you in our data center. We use a Google Cloud Compute platform, so you can choose the region wherever you are in the world. You can choose where you want your data to be located. So the answer is we can support you to install it on your server. We have Bitrix has their own environment which you can run, which will set the server up essentially with the requirements, the services that you require. We have our own environment as well, which actually has some additional benefits over the standard Bitrix environment. If you buy a license, self-hosted license from us, we provide you with our environment free of charge. It's very configurable. It's very relatively easy to set up, but essentially we'll do all the work for you if you want us to do so. Answer to your question, is there any support? Yeah, we'll install it all for you. There's no charge if you buy the license from us to install it on your server. I think the only thing to say is that if you're looking to host it in-house or even on your own web server that you're managing, you should have experience of managing servers. So it can't be run on a server that has any other programs running on it, and that includes something like a control panel. So Bitrix won't run on a server that has cPanel or something operating. It needs to be a completely blank instance, so you're using command line to configure the server. So you'd have to have experience of using that. Otherwise, probably best to go to someone like ourselves, and we can set it up for you. Set it up all for you. Is there a way to create a subtask based on a template that's set automatically the parent task and work group that it belongs to? So is there a way to create a subtask based on a template that's set automatically the parent task and the work group? Yeah, probably not, unfortunately. If you haven't found a way to do that, then there's a chance that you probably can't. So if we go into templates and we add a template, then I can see, all your options are here. So you can give it a name and a description. You can add a checklist. You can assign it to create the responsible person, participants, observers, add deadlines. You can make repeat, and if you're using any custom fields on tasks, you can populate those. Subtask. So you've got subtask here, and you can choose. So you've got the option here to choose dependent tasks and subtasks. So it does look like when you create a template, you can create it either dependent on another task, or you can create it as a subtask. So I think the answer is you can do that in there. You should try that in there. Is there a way that when you create repetitive recurrent task, all the instances of the task are created similar to when you create a recurring event in Outlook, so you're aware of the future task? So we had this question in, I think, from you on email. We were going to cover that. Let's have a look. So yeah, is there a way to create subtasks? Is there a way to create recurring tasks that are visible before the start date of that task? So you can create a task which is which recurs. Let's just repeat task, and so you can create a task that repeats every week or something like that. But the task won't appear until it's scheduled to appear. So that's the intended functionality of it. I can see that you want the task to appear in a sort of pending stage or something, so that you can plan work ahead. Doesn't look like it works like that. Of course, tasks have. Let's just go into our tasks. Tasks do have different stages here that you can customize. Obviously, we've got a few in this stage called not started. So you can create a series of tasks and put them in a not started or a pending stage, so you can see the task start date and deadline dates and things like that, but you see that it's at a stage which is pending. But I don't think you can do that with a recurring task. So the tasks won't all appear in your calendar. They'll appear as and when their start date is due. So it looks like it works slightly differently, unfortunately, to the way that you want it to work. I think if you had a self-hosted instance, then it might be possible to do some customization on that. I think maybe we'll have a look at it a little bit further afterwards and see if there's any way around that. But as far as I can see, they do only appear. I mean, I guess the problem with them all appearing, if you're creating a repeat task and you're creating it to repeat every week and you're having no finish date on it, if they all appear, you're going to have a very big problem with a very large number, an infinite number of tasks appearing in one of these stages here. So the column's going to be, well, I don't know how that would work, because it would be essentially an infinite number. So them all appearing at once, I can see why you might want that. I think you should try and find some sort of workaround that. But yeah, I mean, if you wanted to get in touch with us, we could probably have a call and go through some different options. But I think best thing to do is just have a look around. If the functionality doesn't exist, there might be a good reason for it, and that's the fact that you're going to have an infinite number of tasks appearing in one of these columns is problematical, I guess. Okay, we've got a comment here from Sam. It's great, but so complicated system with few tutorials. Well, Bitrix is a big system. Particularly the self-hosted instance which we're looking at here. It's a very big system. There are a lot of tutorials on the both our YouTube channel and Bitrix's YouTube channel. There's a lot of videos. There is a help desk built into the system, so if you click in here, you can access all the help topics. So there's quite a bit, but it's a case of learning it. Really, you either learn it yourself or you work with a partner who will set it up for you. So I mean, I think most things are covered in here. Certainly, I think all the features from the front end are covered. If you're getting involved in the self-hosted, there's a lot in the back end, in the control panel side, which is you probably really need to work with a partner on. But I think all the features on the front end are covered by blog posts and videos. But it is a case, having to go through that. But yeah, otherwise, just work with a partner. So we provide telephone support. So whenever you've got a question about how to find something, how something works, then you can ring up your contact in our support team, and they'll give you immediate answers on those. So that's the way to go if you've looked through the documentation, you can't find what you want, then go with a support package. I will put our contact details up there so you can get in touch with us afterwards if you have if you want to buy anything, a license, you want to buy any support, you want a self-hosted hosting, you want any training, you have any particular processes you want building, then we can do all that work for you. Get in touch with us. If I create my own workflows, is there a limit to how many I can create? So there is, I don't think there's any limit on how many workflows you can create. I mean, certainly on the self-hosted there's no limit. I'm pretty sure there's no limits on how many you can create. Let's have a quick look and see if so if you go to pricing on the Bitrix24 website, and you can see a summary of all the features here for each individual plan. I think with workflows, they exist in different areas. So they exist in the CRM, they exist in the HR ones, like for leave request. They exist in document management, also in lists and in work groups and things. So they exist in different areas. I don't think there's any limitation to how many you can create. There are some limitations on what you can actually do on the free package. I think some workflows are restricted completely. Let's just see if I can find an answer to that question. It might take me a while to go through that. So it would be probably better to have a look through this and just see if there's any limitation. But I don't think if you're on one of the commercial packages, I don't think there's a limit to how many you can create. So maybe if you can answer what specific workflow it is you're looking to do, and why it is you're looking to do such a large number. I would normally workflows, you have one that performs multiple times. So is it a case of you want to know how many times that workflow can run? That would be unlimited. But in terms of how many you can create, I don't think there's a limit. Don't think there's a limit on that either. So yeah, if you've got questions, post your questions in the box. I was told that the website today is not open. If you can let me know, Ahmed, what you mean by which website's not open today. That would be good. Can I integrate CRM forms into my website? See if we can answer this. Yes, you can. So, firstly, you can use sites within Bitrix. I don't know if you say my website, or you're using a Bitrix site. Let's have a look at one. Let's have a look at this one. So, easy to integrate forms, CRM forms into a Bitrix site. We scroll down, we've got one here. If we edit this page, CRM form, here's the form. So from here I can select which form I want to show on this page. So very straightforward if you're using sites. If you're using if your website's built on something other than Bitrix, like WordPress, then you can still integrate forms. Let's go into the CRM. I'll show you how you do that. So in the CRM, there's a link to CRM forms. And we have one here. Let's edit this form. So I think firstly, once you've created a form, it does give you a public link. So you've got the form sort of standing on its own there. But if you want to integrate it, you just click on the embed code, and it gives you the code. there's something you need to do on some providers like WordPress to allow you to put this code in. Your web designer would know how to work with this code. You can embed the form. You can have it as a button or a link, or you can have it as a pop-up after a period of time. Yeah, so you can, I mean, that's what they're there for. They're designed to be integrated into your website. If you have forms already built on your website, either rebuild them with Bitrix, or it would be possible potentially, what you're using for those forms, potentially possible to integrate them with Bitrix as they are, but you would need I think you would need a self-hosted edition to do that. So the best thing to do is try and rebuild them. I know some businesses have a lot of forms, and rebuilding them is a problem for them, but they're simple to build. So you select the fields that you want in the form from the fields that are available in any of these modules. Those can be the standard fields that Bitrix is shipped with, or any custom fields. So I can put in name, date of birth, company name, things like that in these fields in here. There's a few things you can do to add in to design, put in separators and things like that. Can put in products as well. We don't have any available to select from there, but you add your fields in. You can then style it a little bit. If we just open this drop down. Well, firstly, you choose who's going to be responsible for this. So it will create an entity inside the CRM. They need to have a responsible person. Choose who that person is going to be. Choose what it's going to create inside the CRM. Generally, forms create leads. There's some control over here on how, whether you merge or replace or allow duplicates, in terms of if you capture information that looks like it's similar to what you've already got. Change the design. You can add your own CSS down here, and that's it. That's it. So yeah, you can do that. It's quite straightforward. Let's put our contact details up again. How do I set up meetings and add an agenda? Let's have a look. So let's go into the calendar. So I'm not sure about adding an agenda. So Bitrix has a calendar application which will sync with your mobile calendars. It will sync with your Gmail or Outlook calendars, allowing you to create the event in your Bitrix calendar or one of your other calendars and them to sync across. Your question is how to set up meetings and add an agenda. So of course, you set up a meeting like this. I don't know what you mean by add an agenda. I mean, I can put a description in here into the calendar event. I mean, you've asked how to set up meetings. I'm showing you how to set up a calendar event. I don't know if you want more of a meetings app. We don't really have a meetings app as such. You can create a calendar event. You can choose, of course, who you're going to invite into this calendar. What you can do is it will find out who's free out of the people that you've invited in, so you can create events that are not clashing with other people's events. Yeah, put your agenda inside the description. You can link it to the CRM. That's it. Like any calendar app, you'll know when somebody's accepted that meeting request or refused it. Okay, we have a form with an array of checkboxes. Would there be a way to do that? I think so. Let's have a look. So if we go into, need to find a field that's got a checkbox in, see if we can add it to a, let's have a look if they've got any checkboxes in here. So we have a checkbox here called converted. That's in a contact. So let's go into our CRM forms. Let's go into this inquiry form and edit it. Go into our contact and see if we can find that field. We've got quite a lot of fields. Here we go, converted. So it does bring in this checkbox field. And if we click on the link, then you can add checkboxes to your form. Yes. Is there a way on the phone app where you can open a company, you're able to see binded elements like quotes or invoices or of that customer? Okay, the usability of phone app has huge opportunity for improvement. So you can see binded elements like quotes or invoices for that customer. Unfortunately, I can't open the phone app at the moment. So you can go through a list of companies, open up a company, and then see who the contacts are that associated with that company. I'm pretty sure you can also see the quotes that are linked to a company as well. So you're able to see binded elements like quotes or invoices for that customer. I thought you could, and if you're saying you can't, then that may be the case. But my understanding was that there is less functionality on the mobile app than you get in the full system, the browser desktop system. So yeah, which is normal. But I think there has been an update recently to the app, or one coming through quite soon. So there are some improvements coming through. But my understanding is you can see quotes that are linked to customers on there. But tell me if you're saying that's not the case, and we can have a look into it for you. So yeah, let's have any more questions you've got. I don't think we've got any more questions that came in beforehand. Can I import projects from Basecamp? You can import generally from other systems, depending what you want to do. I think the problems arise where you want to import beyond just the kind of task name and the task description, and maybe who's responsible for it and what the deadline is. If you want to import all the activity, so any conversations that people have had, if you want to import all the history as well, then it can get more complicated. There's certain stuff you can do to import. If you have the self-hosted edition, it's a lot better. But yeah, I mean, we have done it, but there are potentially some restrictions on just what you can do. We can discuss what's available, what's important to you, but there's no actual way to just sync projects over from other applications like Basecamp. You would have to run a process, and I don't think you could do it on the cloud. I think you'd have to have the self-hosted to run an import process into tasks. So when you talk about projects in Bitrix, a project is a work group or a project group. Click on here. Then you have these projects here: open project, private project, external project. These are projects, and then inside a project are tasks. So it depends what you mean by projects as well, because if I open up one of our existing projects, then you can see that a project has there's sort of things like dates and a list of the people that belong to the project. A lot of activity in here, conversations inside the project. It has tasks and a calendar. It has documents attached as well. Might have lists, things like this. So it might have a series of different lists that are associated with that project. So, and I think Basecamp's probably similar. I don't know exactly all the functionality you have in a project, but just importing that into finding a module that matches the module you have in Basecamp to import is too straightforward. I look for that use case on the mobile app. It wasn't able to do it. Maybe you can request that enhancement. My Salesforce is mainly mobile. So you're saying that, I mean, if you want Andreas to send us your contact information, email address, if you email sales@intraface.com, we'll look into it for you and we will come back to you. The mobile app can actually be customized if you have a self-hosted instance. So if this is critical for you and it's not the functionality you want is not available, then we could customize it. But if you just send us your contact information, then we'll have a look into it and just confirm what is and what isn't available. And if it's not available, we can request it and we can give you some guidelines on when that might become available. Put our contact details up once more, and if you have any more questions, then please post those in there. If you don't, then get in touch with us at sales@intraface at a later date and we can do a one-to-one demo for you. So we'll ask you what you're interested in achieving, maybe what systems you're using at the moment, what's good and bad about them, and then we'll tailor a demonstration for you that shows you the best of Bitrix and how that can work for you. And so we can do a demo. We can then we can meet with you and scope out how we can implement that into your business. We'd adopt a phased approach to roll that out into your business. We then provide training and we provide ongoing support as well. So unlike Bitrix directly, if you work with a partner, you potentially get some enhanced support. We do telephone support. You get a single point of contact. You can ring them up or contact them by any of the methods and get a much quicker response, a more detailed response to your questions. Okay, I don't think we have any more questions, so thank you for your time. If you subscribe to Intraface and Bitrix24 on YouTube, then you'll receive notifications. If you click the bell on there about when we go live, but we do the same every week. It's normally an hour. If you've got questions, we stay on for an hour. We also do webinars on a Monday. If you go to Bitrix24.com, on the bottom of their homepage, you can register for webinars that we run for them, and they're on specific subject areas. But on this session, you can ask any questions. There's normally 2 people on this session, but today you've just got me. But we're out of questions, so thanks for your time. Hope to see you again next time.